All right. Welcome, everybody, to our live Tuesday night show where we'll talk about Penn State in a little bit here. First of all, as usual, I need to get business out of the way. First of all, smash that subscribe button. Do it now. It's right there in front of you. Don't hesitate. Okay. Then hit the like button. It's also right there in front of you. Don't hesitate. Okay. Leave us a comment or two and then share it with all your friends. You know, this week you can share it with all your Penn State Nittany Lion fans who are going to be crying in their milk all week, and who, honestly, the Nittany Lion fans this week are kind of sounding like me a little bit because they're predicting the big blowout, and Iowa's going to toast them. You know, I think Iowa had a little fool's gold with Wisconsin and beating them the way they did, and the way that Nittany Lions lost. I think. I have a feeling that the Nittany Lion fans are a little scared of Iowa, probably more so than the players, because I'm pretty sure the players aren't scared of Iowa. Okay, as usual, we always start at the top of this podcast with a little news. Okay, and as usual, I'm going to let Kelvin take the reins on that one.
I don't know if the Penn State fans are crying in their milk or celebrating, drinking champagne because they hated their coach anyway. But anyway, I did a little deep dive and I was looking up all the Iowa transfer quarterbacks have left, and obviously Labas and Cade is having the best seasons, and then Deuce Hogan's playing. You know, nobody else is really playing. As far as going to the left.
Well, since you did a deep dive, what are their stats? I'm curious.
Oh, I didn't go into that. I figured people didn't want to hear that. But Labas and Cade are both around 60%, not getting a lot of yards per game. They're both, Labas is like, he's kind of sharing the job. Yeah, I think. Labas got a running quarterback.
Labas, guys. Labas. It's Labas.
He's doing the passing downs. If it's their drive where they want to throw the ball, they use the boss. If not, they're running quarterback.
The three of them were all completing like 60% or around their passes, but I separated them because Labas didn't have near as many. Like Cade was 5 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, and Labas was 5 touchdowns and not as many interceptions, and Hogan was only like 1 touchdown and 5 interceptions or something like that. And that's bad, you know? Okay. Any other comments from you guys on that?
No, not at all.
Okay. And then I wanted to recommend that you guys listen to the Gallery and Hurley podcast. They had Ronnie Harmon on a few days ago, and today they had his cohort, Chuck Long, on, and it was another great listen. Chuck's memory ain't the best, but he's probably taken a few hits, but he said it was interesting that Hayden Fry, I didn't know, he said Hayden Fry, when Bump Elliott offered him the job, that Bump's first 2 choices turned the job down. He said he wouldn't tell who they were, but that was interesting to me. And then Iowa today added North Dakota as a 2027 team to their football schedule. So...
Well, that's actually old news. That was last week.
I don't know. That's what I don't know. They announced it today. But anyway, maybe North Dakota announced it before. But there'll be a step up from Albany and UMass as far as a decent team anyway. Other news was 3 new follows by Tyler Barnes and the Iowa coaches. Lance McGee, who's an Oregon State decommit running back, which we need to commit in the running back room. And then a 4-star wide receiver from Florida is a Wisconsin decommit, and Iowa's Tyler Barnes is right on top of him. And then Penn State safety. He's from the same school as our true freshman cornerback, Wallace, and he's a 4-star. from DeMatha High School in Washington, D.C. He's the other one, and that is, oh, and of course, they had the Women's Media Day today. I don't know if maybe Dean will do a special on that with Molly or something. I don't know, but
we are as of now, we're next Thursday night, the 23rd. We will be doing a woman's preview special.
Not much rehash there, except another poll came out today, and they were ranked 21st in that poll, I think. And Iowa State, it surprised me that Iowa State was 14th.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't think Iowa State had a very good season last year.
They're ranked 17th in Lindy's.
Okay.
And 7th or 9th, I forget, in 7th in the Big Ten standings.
Okay.
So
cool. But anyway, that's pretty much the news.
Okay.
From my end, anyway, unless you guys got a news bit or something.
I don't. I do not. I mean, let's talk about, before we move on to Penn State, let's talk about Wisconsin and whether or not this coach is going to make it to the end of the season. And if he does, will he lose his job anyway? Where are we at with that, guys? Where are you at in your mind with that?
Well, I've been hearing that he's definitely not going to be the coach next year, and the AD is going to go out with him. I don't know if anybody else is. Well, it's almost a given, But I don't know if they'll fire him during the season. I don't know what you guys think, but.
Well, I don't think he's going to get fired unless somebody has money I don't know about. It just depends on the money. They want him gone. I know that, but if they can't afford it, they can't afford it for another year. Because if they fire him after next year, the buyout goes down. So it just the buyout.
I believe. Yeah, my personal belief is that they're going to pay him on a monthly or yearly basis until he's caught up. And then if he gets hired by somebody else, then there's no more payments.
I don't think there's.
That's
well, they're doing it with Fran McCaffrey.
Yeah, there's something in the contract. You can do anything in the contract you want.
Yeah, I don't think there's any. I don't think nowadays there's any money issue. I truly don't believe that there's any money issue with any Big Ten team because of donors. Wisconsin spent a pile of money in the transfer portal last year, so there's donors out there, in my view. But the rumor is that
they always pay every coach by the year. Dean, they always do that. They never pay the buyout. The buyout doesn't mean they get the money right away. Heck, Frank Stolich was still getting paid in 2015 or something at Nebraska. So he was getting paid from Nebraska and Ohio for the longest time before when coaches leave, the buyout doesn't mean they get a lump sum. The buyout
I understand that.
They still have to get that money, but every coach gets paid yearly.
It depends on the language in the contract on the buyout. If Mark Stoops get fired, I heard a podcast about that today. If he gets fired, he gets 30-some million within 30 days. All of it in 30 days. Fran McCaffrey's getting his $4 million or whatever, $1.33 million a year for 3 years.
Yes,
but
that's what I'm saying.
Well, some coaches get it over time, and some people get it in a lump sum.
Yeah, it depends on your contract. You can put anything in the contract you want to, as long as you both agree to it.
Yeah. And anyway, one rumor is, of course, they get rid of the AD, Mr. Pollard at Iowa State, Iowa State's having terrible financial problems. They're talking like, well, will Pollard and Campbell both go to Wisconsin? Because they'll need an AD. I know one thing. If Wisconsin's got any brains, they'll just turn over the decision of who to hire as a coach to Barry Alvarez. I think that's the problem. They didn't rely on Barry for Fickle. They relied on the ex-offensive lineman at Wisconsin, who's the AD, to do it. And I would predict that who knows? Alvarez, Leopold is a Wisconsin guy from Kansas. Would he go to a guy like Fitzgerald? I doubt it. He could go to he's an ex-Iowa guy. He could reach down and say, hey, Seth Wallace or LeVar Woods are my type of guys. Narduzzi at Pitt. Hell, maybe he'd hire back Paul Christ. I doubt it. But
do you think they regret hiring Paul Christ?
Well, they sure the hell do. But and I don't know. Could James Franklin end up at Nebraska or Auburn or Wisconsin even, I don't know.
You got all these coaches who are sitting fat and happy where they're at right now, all wanting to move either to Penn State or somewhere else and to set a firestorm off, or to Wisconsin. So it's like you got everybody moving,
But it puts James Franklin back in the cycle of he's going to be working at some place, UCLA, or if Lane Kiffin goes to Florida, his wife is a famous Florida person. Would Franklin go down and be the next Mississippi coach? It's just it's a whirling dervish, but
Jared says Urban Meyer to Penn State.
Yeah, the rumor today was Penn State was going to throw out a pile of money and try getting Ryan Day. So,
yeah, I think Ryan Day is very blessed that he's Ohio State and the people that came before him, and he's able to recruit the talent that he recruits, because I don't know that he's that great of a coach, except for the fact that he's got good people surrounding him and he's able to get the best recruits in the nation.
Well, Penn State threw enough money around to hire Ryan Day's defensive coordinator off the national championship team. So Penn State, Ohio State's the same situation.
By the way, that defensive coordinator for Penn State, it's working out for him. They still got a hell of a defense. They're going to be hell to pass and run on this week. But we're going to get there, Jason. I saw you shake it, but we'll get
Penn
there.
State doesn't have a defense. Like, what do you mean? Northwestern took them to school. They had so many chances to score more than what they actually did. They had the ball for like They had the ball for 17 or 18 minutes in the first half alone. Like,
it's true.
Go ahead.
Penn State has played way underneath their talent level all year, even in them early easy games. They probably played at their highest level, maybe against Oregon. I don't know. They lost against Oregon, but it was a hell of a game.
It was in overtime too, so they took Oregon to overtime. However,
that talent starts playing at their talent level.
Yeah.
Right.
However, Yeah. Honestly, I think their head's going to be back in the game this week. This is why I'm not sure Iowa is going to win this week. But we'll talk about that later on in the episode. Okay, first of all, Jared has a question he wants to ask. Was the whiskey coach really complaining about the referees? To me, that sounded like an AI. I saw the video he's referring to, and to me, that sounds like an AI thing that somebody made up, but I could be wrong.
That sounds like a Vandy question to me. I don't have a clue. Vandy finds all the negativity out there.
Okay, wait a minute. Here we go. Vandy. Speaking of Vandy, Vandy, good job on. I bet he's really nimble on the keyboard now. Since his surgery. Okay. Penn State is a trashy job. Who wants to go coach for a place that will fire you for winning 10 plus games 6 times in 11 seasons and have 19 players injured? They deserve the Frank Solich curse. I said the same thing. They have 19 players on their injury report. What do you expect? No team is going to play up to that expectation under those conditions. But I think most of those players that are hurt are not first teamers. I think a lot of them are not first teamers. I think they still have a solid first teamers going.
Signetti seemed to do good with his massive injury list, but I don't think injuries are ever an excuse at Penn State, Ohio State, Alabama, places like that where you have 4 stars playing third team.
I mean, my question is, are any of those injuries on the offensive line? Because their offensive line looked terrible against Northwestern. Northwestern destroyed Penn State's offensive line.
I couldn't believe the way UCLA ran the ball against them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that too. Yeah, the D line got their ass kicked too. But yeah, last week watching Penn State's offensive line, like Drew Aller, I mean, he basically had to do everything. They couldn't.
When did he go out of the game? Third quarter, fourth quarter?
I think it was
near the end.
It was near the end.
Okay, so that's why we don't have a lot of tape on this quarterback that's coming out because he didn't play a lot in the game.
Basically, all the Iowa coaches need to know, though, is he limbo with his feet? Is he a pocket passer? I mean, that's the main things you look at before you game plan for him. But
he was a 4-star in high school, and then I think his backup's a kid from Des Moines that Iowa and Iowa State wanted so bad. Another 4-star, but
what? Who the heck is
his name's don't you remember when he was a big star in high school in Des Moines? I think his name is Malik or something like that. And he's one of them guys, that Iowa and Iowa State want so bad, and we need a good quarterback. And, they always think of blue blood, going to a blue blood, like Alabama or Penn State. We've lost several guys from in-state going to Penn State over the years in Alabama, But anyway, you can look him up on their depth chart.
That's what I'm looking at right now because
I think he was from Des Moines. Might have been Urbandale.
Having a major league Van Meter.
Okay.
Jackson Smolik, Van Meter, Iowa, Des Moines area. Yeah, it's the Des Moines area.
Yeah, Drunkenmiller or whatever is a 4-star, but he was really a 4-star that was the lowest rated one that's on the roster. His Penn State was like his only big offer. The other ones were like, I can't remember the schools, Ball State and shit like that. But as soon as Penn State offers you, you jump up to a 4-star. So
I don't remember this dude at all, though.
I do.
Keep going. I'm gonna have to look this
dude up. All right. Well, let's.
Well, he probably ain't gonna play, but
yeah.
Well,
Jared says that Penn State should be, since it's a night game against Penn State, he thinks Iowa should be favored. They are favored by 3 points. So, yeah, as long as we got Jared on here real quick, sometime next week, we haven't picked a date, but we're going to be doing our wrestling preview. And so, and as I did my research for that is going to be one tough preview. I tell you that right up front.
You ought to schedule some of your previews for the bye week after Minnesota.
Isn't it? No. Oh,
next week we'll be talking about Minnesota.
Yeah, we'll probably go ahead and do yeah, we'll probably go ahead and do the men and the wrestling the following week then after Minnesota. Okay. Druckenmiller has only offered because it was a favorite to his dad. Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about Minnesota. Okay, the the quarterback
Penn State.
situation his name is Grunkenmeyer, Ethan Grunkenmeyer.
Yeah.
Okay. He was a 4-star class. He chose Penn State over offers from Indiana, Virginia, Minnesota, Memphis, Cincinnati. So when you think of the schools that offered him, of course he's going to pick Penn State, right? Let me see. I'm trying to get all the information here. I tried to print this out, but it wouldn't print, so I'm having to get my notes off my phone. So he's had 39 snaps over 5 career games, completing 9 of 13 for 105 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. His best game is 7 and 9 passing for 86 yards against Nevada. I keep forgetting. In Iowa, it's Nevada. In the state, it's Nevada. Stupid.
You'll find that's the English language, man. You'll find a lot of words like that across the country.
Yeah.
That are pronounced different.
Okay. Yeah. They have a pair of running backs named Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen. They have combined last year. They combined for 2,200 yards and 20 touchdowns last season. Neither one of them is having the same type of year, but they're still dangerous. This year they're combined. This year they're combined for 726 yards, 13 touchdowns for 5.2 carry. So that's not too bad. That's a pretty good carry.
Right, but you're talking about him when they played their non-conference against nobodies, right? That helps it. Now they're playing real teams, and their yardage is going down. They can't do much, but both those running backs are going to be drafted in the first 4 rounds in NFL draft.
This year?
Both those running backs are good.
I was going to say probably in the first 2 rounds, but I know running backs aren't in great demand. They're like super running backs. So.
Let me ask you guys, do we have a good enough defensive line to slow these guys down?
What?
Well, yeah.
Because all right. Because our linebackers are hurt, and I noticed that last week, Jaden Montgomery only got credited with 3 tackles. 3 tackles.
Why do you believe that is?
Well,
the defensive line was eating.
Okay.
The defensive line was eating. Last week, that's how bad Wisconsin's offensive line was. Is the defensive line who their job is just to eat up blocks? Mm-hmm. They were destroying their blocks and they were making the tackles on a lot of things. I'm sorry, number 4. I don't know how I forget his name.
Entringer. Cohen Entringer.
I'm supposed to be healthy. My brain is not working tonight.
Don't get worked up, buddy. Your brain will work.
You look good, Jason. You look great, damn it.
I wish I had Vandy's brain and your brain, Kelvin, for the stats and stuff. But
no. Mine ain't what it used to be. All that chemo. Yeah. Oh my God.
All right. So the next thing I wanted to bring up was their wide receiver.
One thing I want to point out about tackles. They moved Lutmer. They moved Lutmer because Wisconsin's was a heavier set team, and they didn't worry that much about Wisconsin's passing, as they moved Lutmer a large percentage of time to cornerback and made Deshaun Lee the 5th defensive back. And Lutmer really he sealed the edge.
Yeah.
On running plays and forced them guys into the linemen. And it was Lutmer.
That's where I was going, is number 4. And I can't believe I forgot number 4's name. I can't believe that. But anyway, both, I was going to get there. Yes. Yeah. Good Lord. Both 4 and Lutmer and 6, they were doing a lot of damage on the outside. That's why Jaden get many tackles. Everything was happening in front of him. They weren't getting first downs or nothing like that in front of him. They were legit making tackles before he got
You don't get as many tackles when you defensive linemen are intercepting passes. And Iowa, for the last few years, hasn't done what they did the last couple games, is a lot of 3 and outs.
Yeah.
Yes.
3 and outs, you don't pile up tackles near as much. So
That
That is
is
true. That is true. That is true. So
there is also a disadvantage he has as far as he's only 5'10", so he has to be able to see it. That's where I'm at, where he's all about instincts. He's got to have the instincts, or he's not going to be there.
And like Montgomery's interview today, which I watched all the players' interviews, he says, it felt good to play real football again. He says, we don't practice tackling at Iowa. He said live tackling. We run drills where we do form tackling. And Kirk explained that he went to that the last few years to cut down on injuries because of the smaller roster and everything. And Montgomery said it was like different. I actually am in a live speed game, and it's like I had to get used to tackling. All he did was tackle on special teams. So.
All right, guys, let me move on. Let me move on a little bit. Let me go back to Lutmer or whatever. Okay. Lysicle said originally everybody thought that was because of the Wisconsin personnel, the reason why they did that. But he said talking today, he has a feeling that that's a permanent change.
Well, if he'd listened to Kirk's press conference, he explained it.
Did Kirk say it was permanent?
He said it. I mean, if these guys would listen to coaches when they answer a question, it's like, anyway, Kirk said that the defensive coaches, we looked at the tape and we decided that in this game, which it probably will not continue when we play like Oregon that spreads the field, you'll have 5 defensive backs in, you'll have the cash position in, and this was a different, Wisconsin was not got a bunch of 4-4 or 4-3 wide receivers, 3 of them in there running all over the field. So, you got to listen to the press conference, Chad.
Okay, so Penn State ranks 88th in the country in pass attempts per game, 28. But as this article says, you can just throw those passing stats out since we have a new quarterback. They spread the ball around a little bit on the targets, but they've got they got a trio of transfers that are leading the way. Syracuse, Trebor Pena is one of their receivers. USC transfer Kyron Hudson is another one that they go to. He's caught 19 passes for 218 yards this year. And then they got Devontae Ross, someone that Iowa fans will recognize because guess where he's from, where he transferred from?
Troy. Troy.
Yep. You
Kirk
guys
talked about him today.
Yep.
Kirk said it'll be if we get a hand on him at Kinnick Stadium this year, it'll be the first time we put a hand on him.
Yep. He caught 5 passes for 142 yards and 2
returned a punt. Then he returned a punt too.
Return a punt. He did everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm looking at that, and so they're talking about the offensive line a little bit. They're through 6 games. The Lions ranked 13th in pass blocking for a grade of 79, 24th in run blocking for a grade of 69. Offensive line has given up 43 pressures on 186 dropbacks. I'm reading from On3 their stats, and they're very big on analytics in this and in here. Okay. Yeah. And which is the 3rd lowest rate in the Big Ten behind Michigan and Ohio State. So, I mean, these stats bear out that Penn State is a pretty solid team. It's just like the record is not showing it because for whatever reason, they're not winning games right now. Yeah. So
today, one guy said, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Chuck Long. He was on Kakert's podcast. Chuck Long said that one problem with Penn State this year with Aller was he wasn't on him and that new offensive coordinator didn't really mesh very good.
So Aller had a different vision than what the offensive coordinator did.
Well, it's a new offense, new guy. You know, you get a new quarterback. I mean, a quarterback with a new offensive coordinator. Sometimes it just doesn't click. You know, Aller wants to do the same thing he always did. You know, so Vandenberg can tell you about that with Greg Davis. You know, it's just sometimes it don't work as good, right, Jason? I mean,
100%.
Maybe this new quarterback meshes with the offensive coordinator better. He's just a redshirt freshman. He wasn't ingrained, you know, over and over again for 3 years with a different offensive coordinator. So who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, let's go over to the Lions defense. Okay, they give up 18.5 points a game, which is not ranked. They don't show rank what the rank is, but I'm pretty sure it's right up there. I think Iowa gives up fewer. And they probably I don't know where Iowa's is at right now. I'll have to go look. I got that right here. Points per game. I'm sorry. 144 yards rushing, 157 yards passing for 302 total. So this is what they're giving up. So honestly, this is about what Iowa probably averages. They average about 187 on the rush, and God, I don't even know if we average 150 something on passing. So we're playing right in. They're playing right into our hands.
Our statistics are all better than Penn State's on defense, even though Penn State's defense is not bad, and Penn State's statistics on offense are better in about every category than Iowa's, except I think it was third down and fourth down conversion, and yards rushing was very close. I don't remember.
Okay, I'm not going to go into a lot of the defensive stuff. A lot of this is boring analytic stuff that I don't want to go through. But so I guess this is where I had hoped to have that guest on, because this is where I wanted him to kind of go off on the firing of, or how happy he would be that Franklin got fired. I honestly still have a hard time believing that. I still can't believe. I'm still at a loss that a person of Franklin's stature got fired.
I don't think Franklin was much respected in Penn State. They knew that they handed him everything, all the money he wanted. Seemed like every year he was hiring a brand new defensive coordinator, trying to get Seth Wallace, trying to get Tyler Barnes. They gave him piles of money for players. You know, their backfield's making a pile of money. You know, Allar and them two running backs. They got the Syracuse wide receiver was probably the top 2 or 3 wide receiver in the country. And, you know, I kind of wonder if the Syracuse coach might be a candidate at Penn State, but we'll go into that probably. But, you know, when you're at Penn State and you're handed everything, $50 million a year, you know, to spend on coordinators and players, you know, and you do not. It's like Franklin said last year at a press conference, if I don't get into this expanded college football playoffs almost every year, I should be fired. He's 3-3. He lost 3 games in a row to 2 bad teams. What do you expect? You know, if Kirk Ferentz was given all that, if he was at Penn State and given all that money, he'd have got his arse fired for going 3-3. You know, Ryan Day was fired last year, except he won the national championship, so he got to keep his job. That's the way it is nowadays. Kirk talked about that at the press conference.
It's a whole different era.
He said it's just like he said, I coached in the NFL for 6 years, and I found out that NFL stands for not for long, unless you are the greatest. If you're a great coach like Andy Reid, you know, you get to keep your job. But otherwise, you head coach your 3 or 4 years, you're a long-termer. That's the way it's going to be in college then.
Kelvin channeling his inner Jerry Glanville right there. You know what NFL stands for? Not for long when you
Not
make calls
for
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's a famous quote, and I use it once in a while. So anyway, but Kirk, he described it. You know, he said he said I'm old fashioned. He says my goal is academics, character, and turning these guys into NFL players. He says I'm doing it all wrong. You know.
He only had 10 plus wins in 6 of 11. Boy, it seemed like he did it more than that.
Well, he might have had 9 and 8.
But I don't remember Penn State ever having 9 wins.
It's like I say on it. It's like I say on every podcast. When you're at Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, you're born on third base. You better win. You better win 10 games a year.
And that's only half of his seasons. It's over half, barely. That's interesting if that's really what it was. I don't remember Penn State only winning 8 or 9 games ever.
And then he played I think, was it 29 top 10 games against top 10 teams, and he only won one of them. And you're at Penn State.
Yeah. Hey, Jared, in 2020, the COVID year, Penn State couldn't have gone 7-5 because they didn't play 12 games. Most schools played 8 maximum in the Big Ten.
If you're in the Big Ten, that's why Iowa's record was. Well, no, you played more than 8 maximum. Iowa was 6-2, but Michigan ducked out of a game because of COVID. Yeah. So it was a 9-game schedule. It was a 9-game schedule.
That's true. That's true. But we didn't play any non-conference games except for bowl games.
No Big Ten teams did.
Yep. So, all right. I just wanted to. I was kind of going over a little bit about Iowa. What stands out is their rushing. Okay, they are out rushing teams 111. I mean, 1,183 yards to 651 yards total. I mean, they are just totally dominating the people on rush. We're averaging 4.7 per attempt. Got to be Gronowski pulling that fever down, because nobody on Iowa's team except for Gronowski averaged under 5 yards an attempt on the game last week.
That's like that. Yeah, that's like that every year, because quarterbacks, when they get sacked, goes against rushing yards, which is dumb. In the NFL, they don't do that, but in college they do. So every time he takes a sack, that hurts the rushing yards per carry.
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting stat. We've had 15 rushing touchdowns compared to only giving up 5 this year. They don't have receiving on here. What the hell? Who's in charge of this?
Iowa's defense has been fire all year. With the exception of the first half against Rutgers, they've been on fire all year. They've been balling out.
Yeah. This says we've only scored 4 touchdowns passing the ball this year. Guys, is that true? That seems awful low.
We haven't had that many passing touchdowns.
Yeah, I think it sounds about right.
I think we have 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. I think, if I remember right. It hurts our turnover margin.
Yeah, we have a total of 21 touchdowns scored this year versus 9 of our opponents. That doesn't add up, because the other way it only adds up to 19, and this way it adds up to 21. So I don't think we've had special team touchdowns. Oh yeah, we have. We have 2 at least. We have 2 at least. That we have 2.
There's your answer.
Do we have a pick 6 yet this year?
Nope. We almost did. But we went 17 straight years with a pick 6. It's the most in the history of NCAA football. I hope we get
one this year. Get another one. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
But what I love is block a punt from Penn State like we did, and some linemen pick it up and scoop and score.
But
okay. Our punting is down though.
Mhm.
I saw somewhere where, where's this at?
Yeah, 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, Kelvin. You're right. And Gronk has been sacked 9 times.
Thank you for your support, Jason.
You're welcome. And he was sacked 9 times for minus 50 yards. So there's your yards per carry, Dean.
Okay.
Yeah, and TJ Washington's has been bad, but he's obviously been playing hurt or something. So,
All right, punting. Here we go. Reese is only 43.6 yards per punt this year. That's just really down, and it bothers me because my bold prediction was that he'd be over 50 yards this year. I thought he was going to nail it this year.
And in the games, the last couple games, his punting average was down because he was given short fields to punt. Like Wisconsin, he couldn't air it out. You know, we kept getting first downs, and then he's punting from his 50-yard line.
Yeah.
And
By the way,
the guy fair catches it on the 12, so it's only a 38-yard punt. You know, but
okay. Speaking of which, thank you, Sean. I couldn't think of the lineman. It was Claiborne, on the scoop and score. But
punt block.
Yeah. Okay, so what advantage is it when a team has to be assessed 15 yards on the kickoff and Iowa's forced to kick off at the 50-yard line? And so what advantage is that to us? Except for the fact that if we kick it off normally, it's going through the end zone. So we did a squib kick, which came back to haunt us. Well, I mean, it didn't haunt us because they didn't score, but they got pretty decent field position out of it. What advantage is that? I think that's just total disadvantage. I think the 15-yard penalty should be assessed after the kickoff from wherever the ball is and then back them up 15 yards.
So that happened in the game?
I like the way it is. Advantage is that you can kick it high, short, and you can get them inside the 20-yard line. But they chose, and you could do an onside kick for free and not have to worry about it. And that's pretty much what they tried to do. They just
is that what they're trying to do? Is that what they're trying to do?
Yeah, they were trying to split it and bounce it off of somebody. But the guy made a clean catch, the up guy that they thought they were going to be able to knock it off of.
Okay.
It's no different. It's just you actually have a chance to gamble when you have that penalty. When you kick off from the 50, you could choose to kick it high and kick it. That way, your defense or your team will get down there to get the runner, or you can onside it, and they still are on the other side of the 50.
It was a strategic decision by LeVar. So
yeah. I mean, and I agreed with it. I mean, he was trying to knock it off of a player because they had good field position. I believe they got the ball to 35, so it wasn't like they got the ball at midfield or nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to go back to Jared's question when he said he thought Penn State finished like 7-5. They finished 4-5, and no bowl game. It looks like they actually got to play a 9th game, so whoever they played didn't have a COVID issue.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember right, everybody said Michigan backed out because they were getting their butts kicked. Every game they played because of COVID, they didn't have any players really.
I think they went like 2-5.
Yeah,
Michigan. And that was the year Harbaugh had to take a big pay cut to stay as coach at Michigan, and then he won the Big Ten championship 2 years in a row after that.
Probably by 3. I thought he won 3 years in a row.
I don't know, but he probably by cheating, which we know he did. But, I mean, the guy is banned from college football for like 8 years or something. So
he ain't coming back anyway. He's gonna die with the Chargers.
Yeah.
Okay. What else have you guys got to contribute to this Penn State game? Do we want to talk about possible replacements?
Last year, Nebraska was 5-1, just like this year. Just so you guys know, so they're no different so far.
I just want
to throw it out there.
It's like
However, Jason,
it's like Nebraska. Nebraska should have lost to Maryland. I watched that game, and it was like, Maryland really ought to be 6-0 or 7-0, whatever. But they gave away 2 games, and Purdue gave away the game to Minnesota this week. It's just that's the way college football is,
Yeah.
But
okay, so Sean says that it was 3 years in a row when we lost to them twice, with I believe Purdue in between our 2 times.
yeah, Purdue made it because Cooper DeJean got hurt in the Nebraska game, and we lost that one. So Purdue got to go there. But.
Yep. That was if you want to hold that was the last time we lost to Nebraska.
And it was and Kirk pointed it out today, and I pointed it out on our last podcast, that it was to an interim coach.
Yep, it was. It was.
And interim coaches, I think it was Chad Listigo today, said interim coaches, it seems for the most part, the teams perk up and play better.
I agree with him. When that
I do too. Sometimes the change is good, but it wasn't for Wisconsin when Leonard took over. But anyway, I didn't even mention him as a Wisconsin. I didn't even mention him as I forgot about him as a potential Wisconsin guy. But
okay, so the only saving grace I think about this Penn State game for Iowa is the fact that it's a night game in Kinnick. I wish it was a blackout, but it's a stripe game. Why they don't plan these ahead and make it a blackout?
Last time we beat Penn State in the famous 2021, it was the same color game as this one. Each section wears black and gold because a friend of mine, a young lady in college, she was going to school at Penn State, but she flew back home to root for Iowa against Penn State, and she had to go out and find a yellow shirt to wear to the game. So it worked last time. So anyway.
All right. Okay. So, so should we go ahead and get our picks? I have Paul's picks right here. He was gracious enough to send them to us during the show.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're running it, so.
I just got to bring Paul's picks up so I can write them down. I mean, this Penn State show didn't go quite like I wanted to, but hey, we're having fun with it and everything. And
your shows never go the way you want to, Dean.
I know. I have a different vision. I have a vision, and they never work out.
Me and Jason talk too much, so.
Well, I'm going to say tonight you did. I didn't get half of what I wanted. Okay, Jared's already got his prediction. Iowa 23, Penn State 12, PSU will not score a touchdown. We'll get back to our predictions here in a minute.
Yep.
Okay. Louisville at Miami. Both Paul and I took Miami. Calvin.
As will I.
Jason.
Miami.
Okay, I think that's consensus. This one's a little tougher. LSU at Vandy.
I'm gonna make my buddy Vandy happy. I'm taking Vandy again. I took him over Alabama, but that didn't work. But I'm gonna take Vandy because for the most part, I do want to support Vandy the commenter once in a while. He's knowledgeable and everything, but the main reason I'm picking Vandy is I hate the coach at LSU bitterly. So,
okay. Hey Vandy, while you're watching, if you're still watching, who do you got in that game? Jason, pick your pick.
I mean, I want Vandy to win, but LSU's going to win.
And it's at LSU, right?
So it's at Vandy.
It's at Vandy.
Oh. You're a sucker, Jason.
Okay, I hope so because I'm going to root for Vandy.
I'm just joking, Jason. But.
Okay.
My brain just tells me LSU, but my heart says
Vandy. Who'd you pick, Dean?
I took LSU. All right. Ole Miss at Georgia. I took Ole Miss. Paul takes Georgia. Jason, who do you pick?
Georgia.
Okay.
I'm
Calvin.
going with Georgia.
Okay. I guess I'm the only one looking at the upset this week, which, if you go by the rankings, it's not an upset. Texas Tech at Arizona State.
This one's
That's a
hard.
tough one. Yeah.
This is another one. I'll go first. My brain says Texas Tech, but I like Arizona State. I root for them.
Okay.
But Texas Tech's going to win.
Okay.
That $50 million roster is working out great for them.
Yeah, it is. They should be in the playoffs easily.
Yeah. Especially with all the other teams getting hurt.
Yeah. Calvin, before I put Vandy's comment up on the screen, what do you got?
I want Arizona State to win, and they're playing at home. I love their coach, but I'm gonna go with Texas Tech because they beat the hell out of Utah to start the season or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't remember. Before we go on with the rest of the games, let's bring up this comment. Okay.
Mhm.
I think Vandy threw it in quotes, and I know what he's trying to do here. Vandy has no talent, according to one person on this panel. LSU has scored 20 points one time on the season. They won't win a scoring match with Vandy. Doors.
I hope you're
Vandy
right.
Doors
Vandy.
wins 30-18.
I hope you're right, but
Mhm.
I never said no talent. I believe their quarterback is the best quarterback in the country. Vandy has the best quarterback in the country, and they have the best tight end.
I wouldn't have put it past you to say something like that, Jason.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, did you pick the game, Dean?
Okay. Yes. Paul and I both took Texas Tech.
Vandy, I was being hyperbolic. I was just saying 50 million for the hell of it. I wasn't being like literal. He's such a literal person.
What's his comment? What's his comment say?
It says it isn't a $50 million roster. They spent 25. Right. I was just
who are they talking about?
I was talking about Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Remember
Texas
how they
Tech? I know Texas Tech publicly spent $168 million on nil for all their sports because they have an unlimited oil money or something, but I don't know exactly. There's out of the Big Ten teams, which there's 18 of them, 12 of them spent way more than 25 million. So I wouldn't put it past Texas Tech. Most people don't even have an idea what people are spending. It's whatever.
You don't really because they can lie. All right, Jared says, remember preseason rankings are meaningless. Texas, Penn State, Iowa State, and more teams are no longer ranked. Texas is no longer ranked? Wow. And they have Arch Manning. I guess Arch Manning wasn't everything everybody thought he was.
I kind of thought Texas jumped back up maybe into the rankings this week, but maybe they didn't. But Florida State, you talk about Florida State, you talk about a team that dropped like a rock. Holy cow.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Texas is
right now. Okay, Tennessee at Bama. Both Paul and I took Alabama. Calvin, you get the first pick on this one.
Yeah, I'm taking Alabama. I think DeBoer's got a hold of his team now, So
okay, Jason.
Or Alabama. They have their team figured out now.
Okay. All right. Next one is USC at Notre Dame.
USC
Jason,
at Notre Dame. I'm taking Southern California. Take that, you Lincoln Riley haters.
Is that at Notre Dame?
Yep.
I'm going to take Notre Dame.
Paul and I also took Notre Dame. Okay, let's see what Vandy's latest comment is. It's great. I love reading his comments. Okay, for 11 of the last 12 seasons, the team ranked in the top 10 in the preseason ends up not ranked by season's end. That's a fact, Jack. Okay, this is where This is where Joey Aguilar cost Tennessee a game.
Who's
Okay.
Joey Aguilar?
He's the quarterback for Tennessee. I don't know what he's trying to say though. Who does Tennessee play?
Wait a minute. I thought
Alabama. We
Amawana
just picked it.
Wait a minute. I
Oh.
thought Amawana was the quarterback
he's
for
at
Tennessee last year.
UCLA.
No, this year,
Yeah.
but I thought he was talking about last year.
No.
Why
Okay.
would we talk about last year?
I don't
Yeah.
know because we were talking about. Never mind. Who cares?
What a comedy hour we are.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Laugh. We took Laugh-In's place. You know,
Yeah.
I
where's
don't think I
where's
actually heard you
Goldie?
say Tennessee.
Where's
What's that?
Goldie Hawn at?
I don't know. But I don't
Living
think I
with
actually
Kurt
heard you
Russell
say
somewhere.
Alabama, Tennessee. But either way, I'd pick an Alabama. It doesn't matter who they play. I would have picked Alabama right now.
Okay. All righty.
Oh, I'd pick Ohio State over Alabama.
Oh yeah, I would too. I'm talking about the SEC.
I'd pick Miami over Alabama.
Okay. So Utah at BYU.
Oh, that's a
I
toughie.
originally took BYU, but I might go with Utah after reading some of the stuff I read today. Seems to be some bad blood.
Yeah,
Oh,
they don't
yeah.
like it.
You talk
It's like-
about a civil war. Do they call
Yeah.
that the Civil War or something? Oh God, it's one of the bloodiest things. It's religion based. It's
Yeah.
everything. You know.
It's Mormons
But-
against Christians. It's all kinds of stuff.
I think Utah's only loss is to that Texas Tech team. Now, I like I said, my chemo brain don't work, but it seemed like I remember that early in the season or something. But I'm going to go with
It is.
BYU. I'm going
Where's
to
it
find religion again. It's at BYU.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with BYU as well. At BYU.
Paul and I both have Utah. I just got a
That's-
feeling that even though this is BYU's at home and they're having a halfway decent season, something just tells me that last year's game is sticking in their craw, and they're not going to let this game get away from them this year.
They're having better than halfway
Something tells me these teams like BYU and Texas Tech are going to end up in the playoffs and be cannon fodder
Yeah.
to good
All
teams.
righty. Okay, Jared says you're all taking Grandpa's cough medicine. I need Grandpa's cough medicine right now. Okay.
Mhm.
Washington at Michigan. Just for the record, both Paul and I took Michigan. Okay,
Go
Jason,
ahead,
you get to go
ahead,
first.
Jason.
Jason
Who
gets
is
to go
it?
first on this one.
Who?
Washington at Michigan.
Oh, Michigan. That's not going to be a game. Michigan.
I'm taking Washington by more than 10 points.
Wow.
Best
Yeah.
super quarterback.
Ain't going to
Okay.
happen.
They
Well,
lost.
that's what you
They
said.
lost to somebody this week that they shouldn't have, didn't they?
I don't think they've lost anybody they shouldn't have had.
That right here.
Didn't they lose to Ohio State or somebody? I don't know. They've lost one game.
Who
To
was that too?
one of the, I think it was it Ohio State? I think it was Ohio State went out there and beat them like, they kept it close for like a half, and then it was like, I think it ended up 28-10 or something. But you guys can look it up because I do not use cheater notes.
Yeah,
What?
Washington is 5-1.
Was it Ohio State or not?
Yep, it was Ohio State.
Okay, never mind then.
What was the score?
24-6.
See, I was close.
We got to hurry. My blood sugar's going. That's what that beeping noise is. It's my blood sugar.
Okay.
I gotta
Okay.
get stabbed.
We got two more games. Okay. Nebraska at Minnesota. Jason, go first.
Minnesota. No, Nebraska. What the hell am I doing? Minnesota's a terrible team.
It's at Minnesota, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's at Minnesota.
Yeah.
Nebraska.
One thing you're forgetting is Nebraska's a terrible team too.
No, I got you. You're right, but
And Nebraska's been damn lucky that they don't have 3 losses instead of 1. But
like
I'm
I
on
said, they were 5-1 a year ago as well.
yeah,
saw
I know.
that.
Calvin, what do you got?
This is the third game that I'm so torn. You know,
Why I pick 'em?
I want Matt Rule to go to Penn State so he can embarrass his effing self. And then Franklin can come to Nebraska and win 9-10 games every year. You know?
Get fired.
And then get
What?
fired. And then get
Well,
fired.
he won't. Franklin wouldn't get fired at Nebraska doing that. And he could do his stupid shit, and Nebraska fans would soak it in like he's a god.
Okay.
You know?
But anyway, you still haven't told me who you want to win. Who's winning?
Doing stupid
Who's
shit.
winning? Who's winning?
Just a minute. Doing stupid shit at Penn State makes you a laughing stock. That's why they hate him there. I'm going to take Nebraska, so Rule goes to Penn State and ruins their program.
Okay. Paul and I took Minnesota. All right. Penn
I
State
wanted
and
to.
Iowa.
I'm
I
going
got Iowa
last.
winning. Iowa's going to win 31-10.
Calvin.
No, I'm going last.
Okay. Paul and I got Iowa. He didn't give me a score. I got Iowa 22-12.
Okay.
Didn't he just copy Jared? Wasn't that what Jared's score was?
Yeah, but I already had mine down. I think he was 23-12 or something like that, or 24-12.
Okay.
I already had mine down.
All day I said I was going to pick Penn State because it's like you listening to Aaron Graves today and Brian Allen and Gronowski and all these guys that were interviewed. It's like we're watching the tape, they say, and it's like, well, there's a first round pick. There's a bunch of NFL guys who you're playing. But I'm going to go with Iowa because in the history of Phil Parker, he's went against quarterbacks who are making their first start 17 times, and he's 17-0. So I'm going to go with Iowa. What was the score in 2021? I'll take that score. Was it 22-19 or something?
It was close. I don't remember. I'll give you
I'm gonna
22-19.
I'm gonna go Caitlin Clark's number 22. And I'll go with
Vandy, what's your score, Vandy?
Harry Cook's number 15, 22-15.
Kelvin will be done by the time you send us your score.
I am never done.
Yeah. Okay. Jared says, didn't Pelosi get fired from Nebraska with a 9-win season? I believe he did, but he also got fired after he lost to Iowa. Because I think a lot of Iowa fans
beat Iowa.
He beat Iowa?
Beat Iowa. That was the game Drew Ott blocked a punt for a touchdown, and we were ahead like 28-10. Yeah. And they had this guy, punt returner, returned 2 touchdown punts for a touchdown, and we lost in overtime, I believe.
That was 2014.
That's right. That was Sturtz's Scherf's senior season. He had the ball on the last play of the game. Scherf. He was running right down the sidelines and got knocked out of bounds on about 30.
I got Vandy's score down here. He's got Penn State 24-20.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Guys, this has been a great show. I always like it when we have a little bit of controversy on it, but we got to let each other do our thing first before we interrupt each other.
Let's go with some controversy now.
Are
you having a high blood sugar or a low one?
A high. It's high.
Oh, don't worry.
No,
go take some insulin. So
yeah, that's what I have to do. I have to get the shot.
My sensor goes off too.
Yeah.
I don't have a sensor, guys. I got type 2 diabetes, and right now I'm at 5 point something A1C, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling blessed.
Good job. My wife's yelling at me because I'm sitting in her brand new office chair, and she says I'm going to flatten the seat. So,
oh gosh,
but
she doesn't want me sitting in it. She gave me the old one for where I'm going to do the podcast, but tonight, because our oldest boy was over and stuff, I had to come back here, and now I'm sitting in her seat. I wasn't supposed to sit in it, so
Okay. Vandy says controversy. If you support Franklin getting fired for winning 10 games in 6-11 seasons, you better start calling for Kirk Ferentz's job. I don't support. I didn't support any of the Nebraska coaches getting fired because they were doing their job. I don't support Franklin getting fired, and I don't support Kirk getting fired. I've never supported Kirk getting fired
because there are two different schools, so that comment doesn't make sense.
Holy cow! It doesn't make any sense at all.
If Coach came to Iowa and did that, they would never get fired. Period. So,
man, especially with the money Iowa spends on a football team. And then we're located in little old Iowa City. So
yeah. Does Iowa have a path for playing for a Big Ten championship? I doubt it.
What?
Does
Iowa have a what?
A path for playing in the Big Ten championship. I guess they could if they win out.
Yeah, there's always a path unless you lose 3 games. But
Indiana and Ohio State do not play each other this year, so they both could probably be undefeated and play for the title.
That's the best path Iowa has to a football playoff would be somehow to win the rest of their games, which the probability is very small of doing that. And then Indiana and Ohio State both being undefeated, so we didn't have to play in a Big Ten championship game and get a 3rd loss. Then we'd go to the playoffs. But yeah, the chances of that are about as good as me being elected president. So,
well, all of them are winnable games from here out. I mean, Oregon, we probably won't win. But after seeing what Indiana did to Oregon and how we should have beat Indiana, I have hope. If our defense can do to Oregon what they did to Indiana, that would be fantastic. However,
we didn't talk. I thought you put on the agenda that we'd talk about the Penn State coaching job. We didn't really talk about that, but
we didn't really. I mean, we did mention several names already.
I mean, it's the most talked about thing in the nation as far as sports.
Yeah, okay. But who are some serious contenders? I don't consider Rule, Nittany as contenders for that job, or Campbell.
Why don't you? Why don't you? Rule is a beloved player at Penn State.
He was a player at Penn State.
Well, he was a linebacker at Penn State, probably in the late 90s, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Do you think Rule could go
Signetti will get offered the job, but Signetti's just going to say, hey, do I want to be a legend and stay at Indiana? Signetti will get offered every job in the country when it's open, like Florida and all them places.
Of course he will. Of course he will. Just like early on, Kirk's in his first 5 years after his 3 winning seasons, 11 wins, 10 wins, and 10 wins, he was offered everything from.
Yeah.
So,
but Signetti's, like I told you today, the Penn State site is saying that Penn State is gonna, dump the money and try to get Ryan Day from Ohio State. The Joel Klatt named Signetti the number 1 guy. He named Rule number 2 as who Penn State would want. Who was the 3rd guy? But his 4th guy, he said, if there's an assistant coach in the United States that Penn State wants, it would be Brian Hartline, who's the number 1 assistant at Ohio State. He's a wide receiver and an assistant head coach at Ohio State, Brian Hartline. I can't remember who the 3rd guy was. I thought maybe Lane Kiffin. And then somebody told me that Lane Kiffin's wife is John Reeves was a great quarterback at Florida, might have pushed for the Heisman Trophy, and his Lane Kiffin's wife is his daughter, and Lane Kiffin is almost 100% going to be the coach at Florida, they say.
Okay. All right. Going to be a lot of.
I thought Lane Kiffin would be a bang up hire at Penn State.
But I want to throw this out to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Franklin wins 10 games almost every year, at least in the last 5-6 years. He's had 10 wins except for one season. Okay. Who can they hire that can do better than that? They want to get to playoffs regularly. They want to win Big Ten titles regularly. They want to be a national title contender regularly. They started the season as one of the favorites to win the Big Ten and to make the playoffs. And actually, a lot of people thought they would make the national title game. Okay, who can they hire that would do better than that?
I think several of them guys I just talked about, Hartline and Signetti and Kiffin. There's 30 coaches in the United States that are way better than Franklin. Franklin could not win a big game. Like I said, he won one top 10 rated matchup in his career, and that was in 2016 when they upset Ohio State by blocking a field goal or something.
Yeah. But in Matt Rule's 3 years,
the thing that doomed Franklin was that record of terrible record against top 5 teams, top 10 teams, top 15 teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he won just a minuscule amount. But the thing that put him is they gave him the top roster in college football this year, and he blew it. When you lose 3 games in a row and you're 3-3, that was, it was a death knell. I think it was kind of a death knell when he lost to UCLA, and then he lost to Northwestern, who we thought was a terrible team, even though Northwestern's 4-2. But I don't think Northwestern's good. But there's plenty of coaches out there, that are better than Franklin at that job. That job is like the Michigan coach is going to get his arse fired. You can't be at Michigan and lose and not win. There's plenty of coaches out
Ohio
there.
State
They could throw a lot of money. This ain't going to happen, but they could throw a lot of money at Nick Saban. There's a better coach. They could throw a lot of money to the second best living coach, Urban Meyer.
Okay. All these guys are old, though.
Manny Diaz was the other guy that Joel Klatt said, these are the 4 candidates.
Okay.
And Manny Diaz is a coach at Duke. I think he's an ex-player at Penn State.
Okay.
So,
all righty, yeah. But most of the people that you mentioned, including Urban Meyer and the other one that you just mentioned a minute ago.
Well, Nick Saban, they probably won't even coach again.
Yeah, they're too old. They're too old. Jimbo Fisher to Penn State. That's what Manny's saying.
Yeah. Even who?
Jimbo Fisher.
Oh, Jesus. He couldn't even make it at Texas A&M. But thanks for throwing my last name around. Yeah, I don't think that's happened, but, Lane Kiffin's a great coach, and it's much easier to dominate at Penn State than it is at Mississippi. When you're in the Southeast Conference at Mississippi and you gotta go up against LSU and Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee and Florida, all these, those are like elite teams. I know Florida hasn't been winning at an elite rate. That's why the Florida's going to be having probably Lane Kiffin as a coach. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Urban Meyer is quite as old as Curt Signetti, though. Signetti is almost 65 years old. People don't realize that, but
I don't know about Urban Meyer either. I know he's been around.
He's
won at Utah. He won at Florida. He won at Ohio State.
He's a great coach, and another guy that they're talking about at Penn State, of course, is the Notre Dame coach. Now, to me, if I was going to hire a young coach in the country, I like the Notre Dame coach, and Dan Lanning is a great coach, but the question is, and they were asking this on On3's thread today, what's Notre Dame or Penn State? What's a better job? And I said I'd stay at Notre Dame because you control your schedule. You know, if you want to play Michigan State, Michigan State and Purdue every year, and Air Force and Navy and Army, and Notre Dame plays some really tough teams,
I know it.
but they control their schedule. They control their whole schedule, is what I'm saying. It's
If I
like
was
you
the
aren't
head
going to
coach-
get a Wisconsin schedule thrown at you like Fickle did this year.
No. Yeah, I'm gonna say, if you're the head coach at Notre Dame and you got things rolling and you regularly are making the playoffs, I wouldn't leave Notre Dame for nothing because you got more
wouldn't
control
either.
than you know.
That was my point. But they said that Penn State, that's another team, another guy. Penn State's going to go for the best. And, some of these best guys are not going to leave. Kirby Smart ain't going to leave. Kirby Smart's one of the greatest coaches. He ain't going to leave Georgia.
Okay, listen. Vandy has, I actually know James Franklin. I know that he has already contacted the Tennessee Titans about their opening. He's also had a conversation with Bobby Petrino at Arkansas to be his OC. So Franklin would demote himself to OC instead of taking a head coach somewhere because I think Franklin would be in high demand.
Like I said,
somewhere.
Like I said, like if Kiffin leaves Mississippi, Franklin's instant. Mississippi's going to be after Franklin. If Nebraska's coach goes to Penn State, they might just switch coaches. And I'd laugh at that if Franklin come. I think Franklin's a way better coach than Matt Rule. I don't think he's going to have to be an OC anyplace, and I don't think he needs to go to the NFL. He's going to be he'll be UCLA. You could just picture him coaching UCLA. Even though UCLA's interim coach might be a good candidate to be hired at UCLA. So Franklin's a really good coach, but he ain't good enough for Penn State.
So who gets the job at UCLA? Their interim coach because they're starting to win?
I don't know. A lot of people say that Jed Fish wants to coach at UCLA, but I don't see that. Their interim coach, like I mentioned, Franklin could be the coach at UCLA.
Okay. All right. He was a very good OC at Maryland under Ralph Frieden. I have no idea who that is. And was the head coach in waiting there. He isn't a West Coast guy.
I don't know. I just know that Franklin's one hell of a coach. He did a great job at Vanderbilt. And, the guy I'd like to talk to is Tyler Barnes, who used to work for Franklin. Whether Frank would, it's like when the Iowa job opens, when Beth Getz is going to talk to Tyler Barnes probably and say, hey, tell me about this Franklin guy. And Tyler Barnes would probably tell him about his personal relationship with Franklin. And then Tyler Barnes will probably turn to her and say, Kirk hates him. So he might not be a fit at Iowa, but
no, I don't think he would ever be a fit at Iowa.
I don't know. I don't know anything derogatory about him personally, except he is people in Penn State think he's an egomaniac, which I don't see in what he sees. But people in Iowa don't like Franklin because of his players faking injuries, during that game. Remember that,
yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Oh, you didn't. I remember you. I wasn't on any podcast at that time, but I remember you talking about it. You didn't say much of that faking.
I have not liked Franklin or PJ Fleck ever since they joined the league.
Yeah.
Now,
Fitzgerald.
At first, I did not like Fitzgerald at Northwestern because he had our number and he seemed to have some hatred toward us. But after a while, I grew to respect that coach. And I think he grew into the role and put his hatred aside for Iowa. And but yeah, there for a while, I
obviously,
couldn't stand him either, but I don't know if I'll ever gain respect for Franklin and Flick. Those are the two dirtiest coaches I know, and they recruit against Iowa. They negative recruit. That's what I'm trying to say. Negative recruit.
I can't. The biggest negative recruiters against Iowa were ex-Iowa coaches, Alvarez and McCarney.
They had to get the guys away from Iowa that they wanted because
they were very competitive, and they were competitive when they recruited for Iowa. They were the same type recruiters recruiting for Hayden, and then when they went elsewhere, they told all the players Hayden's too old, and Hayden didn't like that. But anyway,
okay, we should probably wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate your staying on a little longer, and I like this little talk we had with the coaches, who the possibilities are. I just don't know that they're going to get any. I mean, I just don't know. There are better coaches than Franklin. I just don't know that if any of them are really interested in
anybody would be interested in that job. But I was looking so forward to you having Roger on, the Penn State fan who does Albany games, because he might have had some insight into who really are candidates. And then I'd like Jason not to get sick, so he could have threw some names out there.
Yeah. I just want to point out that I did attempt a couple of different times to get Roger here. I should have probably have called him and see what happens. But it's not like him in the past conversations I had that he doesn't answer his text. So I don't know if he switched company phones or what, because I'm pretty sure the number I had was his company phone. I should probably check with Albany and see if he's still the play-by-play guy.
Oh, he is. Can I give you a piece of advice?
What's that?
I would call him. I know our show's over, but I would call him and tape a little short vignette if you get a hold of him with his take. Your short vignettes that you put up, they end up getting 300 views or something.
Yeah.
And they're good advertising for your profession, your professional abilities, I think. But
yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. I wish I knew how to do that so I didn't have to depend on people to help me, but I can do the short ones on my own from the beginning. But when I want to clip a show like this tonight, like I think clipping the segment on our talk about the Penn State future coach would have been a great clip to put out there, and I'll see if I can get that done.
Yeah, but when I say vignette, I mean them ones you tape alone.
Yeah.
Like you did on Wolitsko, and did you see all the views you had? And you did on who was it? Oh, Josie Jewell's brain injury.
Yeah.
That was an awesome one, and you got so many views. It helps you promote your regular podcast, I think.
Yes, it does. It does. So, the one thing I was thinking, go back and listen. I mean, there's a couple of different interviews up there posted with Addie Deal. She may have tipped her hand to Bourne. Might be already committed to Iowa behind the scenes.
There was fake news up. There was fake news up today on Facebook that she canceled her visit to UConn and Kansas, which it's thought that those are her three favorite schools. As her parents went to Kansas, and Kansas has got a bunch of good recruits, and UConn because they're UConn.
Yeah. The only problem with going to UConn,
Iowa.
Yeah, the only problem with going to UConn, unless you're an elite of the elite of the elite, I know she is an elite person, but she won't start as a freshman because they've got way too many good players ahead of her. She's probably not looking.
What happened.
Yeah, but when you go to Iowa, you're going to play. You're going to play. Unless you're my favorite girl, Callie Levine, and you're going to get spot duty. And I hate that. That girl can pass the ball. That girl can pass the ball.
I'm still thinking Bjorn and Lewis are going to come to Iowa. Of course, Lewis visits this weekend, so keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And neither one of them are supposed to make a decision till just before signing day, which I think is November 12th. So
yes,
I don't think anybody's
I think
committed.
You're right.
I don't think anybody's committed.
Yeah.
I really
don't think so
do.
either. I don't think so either. But it's just like she talked about how how she's gonna love playing with her, and I thought, what? What did you just say? Something that the rest of the world doesn't know yet?
Yeah.
Like
And
that Velisco thing. Like
you
that
gotta
Velisco
remember
commit. That
Bjorn.
was yeah. I was just gonna
Go
say that
ahead.
Velisco thing was probably done a few days before it actually went public. That little scene in the locker room. I do not believe that was done that morning.
Why? Just a
Because
hunch, or?
because I told you it was posted way too fast at the time they were going live. At the time she was supposed to post her decision, it was already posted.
I was really scared that was like breaking the rules, because a coach is not supposed to mention a commitment until they're signed. And here was this live video, and I thought, oh shit. But anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, the thing that we have to realize, we all talk about Wolitsko or Deal recruiting Bjorn, which they are. But Bjorn's best friend in basketball circles is Lewis, Jenica Lewis.
Yeah, which is why I'm afraid, because until recently she didn't add Iowa back to her final. She had a top 4 and then made Iowa her top 5. So I don't know if she's just doing that to satisfy people in the state of Iowa.
I think
I don't know. I don't know that Lewis is seriously considering Iowa. So I hope the girls
I think it's Iowa. I think it's Iowa, Notre Dame, and I think it's gonna be Iowa. Of course, I told you guys, and I told the people on 3 threads, 7 months ago, that when they said, well, Wolitsko's favorite is Ohio State, and then who is the other one? UConn. Was it UConn? No, South Carolina. And I said, she's going to go to Iowa. I have the same feeling about Lewis and Bjorn. Yeah. And Lewis might have changed her top 5 or top 4 just because Bjorn, that she wants to go to school with Bjorn.
Wow.
I said that's maybe. I don't know. But I know your pod's going longer than you want to. But
yeah, Vandy has a little comment. I mean, as long as it's interesting and people are still watching, that's fine with me. Vandy says recruits are not allowed to collaborate with the school's video department for a commitment announcement, and Velisco did that. Minor violation, 1 3-game suspension. We won't know that right away. We don't know, because the NCAA never comes down right away on those. Just like the Cade McNamara thing, it took a whole year before the NCAA came down on it, and I believe we self-reported ourselves.
I know Layla Hayes committed on video.
Yeah, she walked into I think
visit.
they were. Yeah, I think, and weren't they doing media day that day too when she walked in, and they were doing all kinds
that
of
was a visit during a game.
Oh, okay.
During an Iowa game, and she come in the locker room with an Iowa shirt on and said, I made my choice, like that. Of course.
But she's not actually talking.
And then Jan jumped on her. The one thing that probably helps Jan on this video with Wolitsko is she didn't announce when she got this phone call. They said, is number 20 available?
Yeah, number 20 available. Yeah.
And Jan goes, yeah. Number 20, is it available? Yeah, it's available. But she never did say, hey, this call is from Wolitsko.
She never did. They never used her name.
The thing was, I think Jan saved herself by not mentioning the name, So
I'm sure we'll find out down the road if that really was a recruiting violation.
Pretty exciting, isn't it, Dean? To be in the running for these guys. And
yes, I like what Jan had to say during her press conference today when she said that that she feels like they're in a position now where they can go after these national elite level girls. I don't think those were her exact words, but that's what she was saying. But she also doesn't want to forget the Midwest girls. But she's 0 for 2. She's 0 for 2 on the Minnesota girls, though, trying to get the Minnesota girls in.
When the Minnesota girl went elsewhere, there was 2 reasons. Jenny Lillis, is a proven head coach and a great coach that plays like Lisa Bluter. It's Bluter ball, and she's a great coach. the other thing is that this girl from Minnesota was probably also looking, and maybe, at least there's a difference between offered and a committable offer. She visited Iowa, and maybe, Jan might have told her, well, we can't give you a committable offer until Lewis and Bjorn make their decision, because her and Lewis are going to play the same position, off guard.
Yeah. But why would you tell that? Why would you tell that to recruit? Why not just say, I'll take the first one that commits?
Iowa always does, because she's not near as good she's number 1 in the country, 91 in the country. Lewis is number 17.
Okay, but we also lost the green girl out of Minnesota to Kentucky, of all schools.
You mean Greenway?
Yeah, Greenway. I said Green. Yes.
Yeah, she just didn't want to follow the pressure of following the Greenway name to Iowa.
Yeah. Well, hopefully her sister, who's supposed to be a better player, coming up the ranks, will follow to Iowa.
I don't know that she's better, but a little taller. But
and there's also another girl.
And Iowa
pushing her on the internet. Iowa has not offered her. They have been to her games and her practices, but they've not offered her yet.
Who's that?
Stowalt or something like that. Stowalt.
I don't know. I've heard about underclassmen. But
this girl, I believe, is an underclassman. I think she's a freshman.
Kirk doesn't make a lot of offers in football. Other teams will make 300 offers or 200 offers in a recruiting season, and Kirk will offer 60 guys and sign 28 of them. Mm-hmm. But Kirk makes non-committable offers. He'll say, we're offering you a scholarship if the other 3 offensive linemen we're recruiting don't come here. I guarantee you a scholarship if this guy and this guy and this guy don't commit to us.
Okay. Diago Pavios has a sister that is a freshman that is a 3-star. She has already visited Vandy women's games twice. Well, of course, her brother goes to school there, so why wouldn't she go to those games?
And Cam, two of the juniors, they'd be juniors in high school, Iowa has offered, or post players. One's from South Carolina. She's like 6'5", and South Carolina has not offered her. And the other one, of course, is Cam Manyow's sister in Missouri or Kansas, wherever Cam Manyow is. Cam Manyow.
I have a feeling that when it's time for her to commit, she will commit to Iowa. My gut tells me.
I think her brother's gonna he's been really wanting her to come up to Iowa where he's at. And I think it's a real possibility. She's like a 6'3" or 4" power forward. So
okay. Vandy says that Diego's sister, he met her at game day last weekend in Tuscaloosa. Great gal, but told me she doesn't want to live in his shadow. So maybe she won't be going to Vanderbilt after all.
Yeah, the Jan said, I listened to Jan today, and Jan, they were talking about going after all these blue bloods, and she said, hell, we tried before, but until Caitlin come here, they weren't interested.
Yeah, and the thing is the Caitlin effect that everybody thought, they still weren't getting a lot of blue blood girls in here.
Some of the blue bloods,
they got Deal, and they got a pretty good sophomore class, pretty solid sophomore class, but last year, but they got Deal and they got Velisco coming, and hopefully they get Lewis and Bourne coming, and that would be 10 times a class better than what's there right now at Iowa.
And there was I heard Lisa explain that while Caitlin was here, a lot of blue blood players didn't want to come because they knew that Caitlin was going to hog the ball the whole game. She might hit you with a pass underneath for a layup or something, but they wanted to play in more of a team centric where they
Well,
could
that's why,
start also. But
that's why that Jensen girl left after Caitlin's first year and went to Creighton, because she played Caitlin's position and she didn't want to play second fiddle to Caitlin. And look what she did for Creighton. She turned out to be a
she
pretty
won.
damn good player for Creighton.
She was good. You know, she wanted playing time, and she was a little girl that Molly Davis was brave enough to be even smaller than her and come and Molly Davis was a star at Iowa her senior year, you know.
Oh, yes, she
So
was. Molly
yeah.
Davis was loved from the day her headband fell off in the court and she tried to pick it up and then just kicked it out of the way. You remember that? It was from that point on, Molly headband became a big deal, and somebody on
Well,
Facebook or Twitter created an account called Molly's Headband, and Molly Davis made an announcement on her senior night that whoever had that website, she loved it. She loved it.
I think Molly became one of my favorites just because of the way she played.
Yeah, me too.
She was one of the few players I've ever seen at Iowa that was, I don't know what Molly is, 5'6". I don't know how tall she is. She'd drive
5'7".
in the lane. Drive in the lane and shoot over these people that were 6'5", and she had no problem doing it. You know.
Yeah, I think we're gonna find that Chit Chat will be similar to her in a lot of ways. Okay, Vandy says, did you know that South Carolina women's coach interviewed to be the head coach of the New York Knicks? I had heard rumors of that, but I didn't know it was true.
Yeah, I knew it was true, but
okay. Wow.
She's the Vivian Stringer of college basketball now.
I'm surprised they haven't got her into the WNBA yet. Of course, they can't pay her what she gets paid at.
Well, she has a great advantage, like Vivian Stringer. Vivian Stringer would have never went to the WNBA because you had Angie Lee on. You got to get Angie Lee on again.
I'll do that. Angie Lee, I will bring her back.
And she said she loved being on and getting to be back with the Hawkeyes.
No,
you know,
she
anyway,
she sent me a. I was just going to tell you, she did send me an email shortly afterwards and said that she had a great time. Please invite her back.
God darn it. Make her a regular with Molly, you know?
I will I'll try that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
what was I going to say was Angie Lee said, I said on there, you know, Angie Lee couldn't believe that I knew all the recruits from the very first recruiting class and all that. And I talked to her about the greatest women's recruiting class in the history of high school basketball back then in 92, 93, whenever it was Hamblin and DeMond and whoever. And it was higher rated than the Fab Five that Michigan got in men's. And I go, and she goes, us assistant coaches didn't even recruit anybody. She says Vivian was it's not being racist or anything, but she said Vivian was the only famous black college coach at the time. And all she had to do was tell a girl she offered him and they'd come, you know, and Vivian just stacked talent. And that's what the South Carolina coach does. And Vivian and that South Carolina coach are never going to the WNBA because they're going to be coaching equal talent.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
You know, they can dominate in college and they're not going to dominate in the WNBA.
Yeah, you know? It's really weird to see the preseason poll out and South Carolina is only ranked 2 and UConn is ranked number 1.
So, well, UConn is so good this year, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, UConn, I know we're going to get pulverized by UConn. I wish we wouldn't have agreed to play them, but at least when she schedules teams like this, she's scheduling knowing that there's a chance they might not win these games, but it's going to be a building process. So when they get to the Big Ten games, they can win some games.
Yeah.
All right.
It helped them last year playing, wasn't it Tennessee? And Tennessee just pressed the heck out of them, you know, and Iowa got beat.
Yeah.
And that told Jan and her players that, hey, we got to be better at this. And that's what UConn's going to give them a real teaching clinic, but it'll make all these young players better.
Well,
in the
there's
long
actually
run.
players on that team that still remember Iowa knocking him out of the Final Four, and that would have put them in the championship game. So they're probably a little upset with Iowa still because they think they got robbed. So yeah, there might be a little revenge factor going on. AZ Fudd would be one of those girls.
Yeah, but get Angie Lee on again. I'd love that.
We'll do that. We'll do that. Maybe we'll get her on with Molly next week, and we'll all have a good chit chat. Anyway, we got to get off. We got to get going. I got things to do, medicines to take. Almost time for my bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, thanks for watching. Like I said, we will do a wrestling preview within the next 2 weeks. We'll do a men's basketball within the next 2 weeks. As of now, Molly and I have scheduled a women's preview next Thursday night. Okay, so thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button, leave some more comments that I can come back and answer later, and above all, share it away. Share.
Tell your friends to at least click on it and give it a short view.
Yeah,
you know?
At least that. I mean, if you're not going to watch the whole thing, at least watch a minute or two. That should get my views going. All right. Talk to you guys later. Thank you, Kelvin. See you Sunday night.
Yep.